The sun had barely risen over the quiet streets of Riverton, a small city known more for its reputation than its kindness. On an ordinary Tuesday morning, Marcus Reed, a black man in his mid-30s, dressed in a simple gray hoodie and jeans, was driving his dark SUV through downtown. He was heading to his office, a federal field unit on the outskirts of town. Marcus had spent 10 years as a U.S. Marshal, leading high-risk fugitive recovery missions across the country. But outside the badge, he lived quietly. A man who kept his head down, valued his peace, and believed respect had to go both ways. That morning, though, peace was not what he'd find. At a red light, he noticed a police cruiser pull up behind him. Then another one. The light turned green. Marcus drove normally. Within seconds, the flashing red and blue lights appeared in his rearview mirror. He sighed, already knowing what this was about. He slowed down, pulled over, and placed both hands clearly on the steering wheel. Two officers approached. Officer Bradley, tall and broad with a permanent scowl, and Officer Kent, younger but trying hard to look intimidating. Bradley walked to the driver's side and barked, "License and registration. Step out of the vehicle." Marcus remained calm. "Good morning, officer. Can I ask why I'm being stopped?" Bradley smirked. "We'll get to that. Step out." Marcus slowly lowered the window halfway and said firmly, "I'm reaching for my wallet with my right hand." Bradley rolled his eyes. "Just hurry up." Marcus handed over his ID. Bradley glanced at it, frowned, then looked at Kent. "Huh? Says here you're federal. What's that supposed to mean?" Marcus spoke evenly. "It means I work with the Department of Justice." Kent scoffed. "Yeah, sure you do. Everyone's federal when they get pulled over." Bradley stepped closer. "You don't look like a marshal to me." Marcus met his gaze, calm but unflinching. "What does a marshal look like?" Bradley sneered. "Not like you?" The words hung heavy in the air. The kind of words that weren't just about law, they were about color. Marcus took a slow breath. "Officers, check my badge. It's right here." He carefully unzipped his jacket pocket and revealed a leather wallet with a golden U.S. Marshal badge inside. Bradley snatched it from his hand. "Fake badges are a felony, you know." Marcus's patience thinned. "That badge is real. Call it in." Kent chuckled. "Oh, we'll call it in. After we get you out of the car." Bradley motioned to Kent. "Step out. Hands where I can see them." Marcus slowly opened the door and stepped out, both palms raised. "You're making a mistake," he said calmly. "Shut up," Bradley snapped. "Turn around, hands on the hood." Marcus complied, eyes fixed on the horizon. The air was heavy with tension. As they patted him down, Kent muttered under his breath, "These people think they can play hero." That's when Marcus decided enough was enough. In one swift motion, he turned, his voice sharp and commanding, not as a civilian, but as an officer. "Both of you step back. Now." Bradley's face twisted. "What did you just say to me?" Marcus reached slowly into his pocket and pulled out his credentials. "Federal ID. Deputy U.S. Marshal Marcus Reed, badge number 71894. You are detaining a federal officer. That's obstruction of justice." Kent froze. He's serious." Bradley stammered. "Let me see that." Marcus handed over the credentials. The seal of the Department of Justice gleamed in the sunlight. Bradley's smirk vanished. His jaw tightened. Marcus continued, his tone still calm but cold. "I was driving under the speed limit, with my license visible, and you decided to escalate without cause. Now you're going to explain why." Before Bradley could answer, a black unmarked sedan pulled up behind them. A tall white man in a suit stepped out, Chief Marshal Peterson. He flashed his credentials to the officers. "Deputy Reed, everything okay here?" Marcus nodded slowly. "I think these officers were just about to verify my badge, sir." Peterson turned to Bradley and Kent. His voice was ice. "You just detained one of my men. A decorated marshal who has done more for this city than either of you will in your careers." The officers froze. The silence was deafening. Peterson continued, "Do you have any idea who you're talking to? He's led 6 joint operations with Homeland Security. The only reason you're not in cuffs right now is because he showed restraint." Bradley swallowed hard. "Sir, we didn't know." "That's the problem," Peterson cut him off. "You never want to know. You see a man, not a badge. You see color, not service." Marcus stood quietly, his hands still steady at his sides. Peterson looked back at him. "You good, Reed?" Marcus exhaled. "I am now." Peterson nodded. "Get back to the office. I'll handle this mess." As Marcus drove away, the two officers stood speechless by their cruiser, the weight of what they'd done sinking in. The story spread faster than wildfire. By the next morning, news outlets had picked it up. Local police detained black U.S. Marshal in mistaken stop. The department tried to downplay it, but the body cam footage told a different story. The arrogance, the racial bias, the disbelief in authority that didn't wear their kind of uniform. At the U.S. Marshal's office, Peterson called Marcus in. "You sure you don't want to press charges?" Marcus shook his head. "No, sir. I want something better. Accountability." Peterson nodded. "Then you'll get it." Within a week, Bradley and Kent were placed under internal investigation, sensitivity training, suspension without pay, and public apology. But that wasn't enough for Marcus. He wanted to face them. A meeting was arranged at the Riverton Police Department. Cameras off. Just men in a room. Bradley sat stiffly at the table. "I don't know what to say." Marcus looked him dead in the eye. "Say what you mean." Bradley sighed. "I misjudged you." "No," Marcus said firmly. "You didn't misjudge me. You saw exactly what you wanted to see. And that's the problem." Kent shifted uncomfortably. "We were doing our jobs." Marcus leaned forward. "Your job isn't to assume, it's to protect. You don't get to choose who's worthy of respect." Bradley's eyes dropped. "You're right." Marcus stood, placing his badge on the table between them. "That badge doesn't make me better than you, but it reminds me that the law only means something when it's applied fairly. If you ever want to wear yours with pride, remember that." He picked up his badge and left the room. Outside, the press was waiting. A reporter called out, "Marshal Reed, how do you feel about what happened?" Marcus stopped, looked straight into the camera, and said, "I'm not angry. I'm disappointed. Because every time this happens, trust dies a little more. And once trust is gone, justice is next." The clip went viral. Millions watched, commented, shared. For once, it wasn't just outrage, it was reflection. The police department later invited Marcus to speak at their annual ethics summit. He agreed not to shame anyone, but to teach. Standing before a room full of officers, he said, "Respect shouldn't depend on who's standing in front of you. It should depend on the badge you wear and the oath you took." Silence filled the room. Some nodded. Some looked away. But they listened. A year later, Riverton changed its training program, adding a new module called Read S Rule, Listen Before You Judge. Bradley eventually returned to duty, humbler, wiser. Kent transferred to community outreach. As for Marcus, he continued his work as a marshal, still calm, still proud, still believing in the power of doing right, even when the world doesn't. Sometimes he'd drive past that same intersection where it all began, roll down the window, and smile quietly. Because justice, to him, wasn't about revenge. It was about awakening. And in that small city, one encounter changed everything. If you enjoyed this story, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe for more cinematic, true-style stories. Stories that challenge what we see and remind us who we should be. Have a powerful day ahead.